What is up, everybody? It's MetroGame75 here today, and today I am back with a new video. This is part 4 of Sakura Alien 2. Let's get started. Whew. I wish I had more time to think things through. I grit my teeth together, but there isn't any time. I've used it all up. Now what am I supposed to do? Darling. And it slides up. Seals up to me. Her expression anxious, gently. She entwines one arm through mine, then peers at me beneath her eyelashes. Are you alright? I look away from Anna, embarrassed, but my own outbursts and squeeze my eyelids shut. My nerves feel so disordered, it takes a little while for me to regain my self-control. I inhale sharply, my fingers curl its fists. Then, upon speaking, force my voice into some semblance of calm. I'm fine, I guess. I should have expected this much, given the events of last week. I'm sorry for losing my temper like that, Anna. You shouldn't have to see me like this. It isn't very cool, especially not when I said I'd look after you. That's alright, darling. I know that you're an honest person. You've been doing your best to protect me. That is much apparent, and I really appreciate it. It is a shame, though, that you've been unable to speak to Hiyori. Have you not been able to talk to her all week? That's right. I squeeze this painful truth from my lips like a dying breath. I don't want to admit to this, but it should be fairly apparent to Anna already. If I had been able to contact Hiyori, I wouldn't have thrown my phone down on the floor like that. I wouldn't have had any cause to. She's not picking up, no matter how many times I call her, and she doesn't answer the door when I head over to her place. She's not showing up at the university since the day her parents came over for a surprise visit either. If she replied to my messages, I wouldn't be so worried about her, but as it is, I frown. I'm afraid something bad might happen. I, too, I am worried about Hiyori. I have not known her nearly as long as you have, but even I am aware that this behavior is unusual for her. She is a thoughtful person, much as you are. It strikes me as very strange that she would disappear like this. I too am worried about her, but we cannot let our fears about Hiyori distract us from that woman's threats. Today is the day it means to expel you, is it not? That's right. I run a hand through my hair, which is already messy and distracted. You don't need to remind me about it. I've been thinking about that ever since I woke up. I apologize then if I had made you ponder affairs. You would rather not, but this is too important to brush aside. You and Hiyori meant to think of a plan together, but as you have been unable to contact her, you have not made much progress on this front. Would I be safe in assuming that? Oh yeah, you're not wrong. I've not done much at all despite all my posturing. I feel like I've been running around this week like a child with its head cut off. I've got nothing figured out. I must seem really pathetic, huh? No, you are not. You are many things, darling, but I would never in fact thought of you as being pathetic. I think you are brave and kind and compassionate and caring, and it is because of these wonderful traits of yours that you have found yourself so perturbed. You are worried about Hiyori and worried about me. It is because you care for us, so you've had a little thought to spare to your own future. I fear were I to leave matters in your hands, you and me with that nasty woman, and would let her do whatever she wants with you. You would not try to fight for yourself. She would have expelled you. You would have to accept this fate for the sake of preserving my happiness. Would you not? Well, yeah. I don't want to be expelled, but what choice do I have? I can't betray you, Anna. Not after I promised you I'd be there for you. That wouldn't be right. You worry too much, darling. I pat Anna's head last week when she was feared about her future, but now the tables have turned. Anna shifts closer to me, then rests her own palm upon the crown of my head. She pats it gently, and with a smile she says, I know you meant to protect me, but I am a grown woman, and a princess, no less. I can take care of myself. I was willing to stand back and let you think of a plan. If it would allow for both you to continue your studies and me to remain upon this planet, but now it seems as though this is impossible. I am not childish enough to cling onto dreams which cannot come to pass, and I am not cruel enough to let you suffer for my sake. As much as I enjoy living on this planet, it does not seem worthwhile if it would cause you distress. I've thought about this long and hard during the last week, and I have thus decided I cannot let you take a fall for my sake. You're my darling. I adore you, Haru, and that means I ought to do my part for once and protect you. Anna? I look at my alien companion bashed in the face of her self-assured certainty. You don't mean to turn yourself into a Professor Sakai, do you? That is precisely what I would do, if it would allow you to pursue your future dreams unfettered. You always put others first, darling. It is a trait of yours I admire, but it is to your detriment. There are such things as being too selfless. I cannot let you hack away at a piece of yourself for my sake. That would be unfair. But if Professor Sakai learns that you're an alien, you could be in real trouble. She might haul you to a facility and perform all sorts of operations on you. I don't want you to get cut open for my sake. She can try to cut me open if that's what she desires. I fear she'll not make much headway. Anna grins. There's a comm device soon into my power suit, which is still functional. I should be able to contact my mates on Corvo, who shall hasten to save me if save me should find I myself in any danger. I will not linger long on this planet. Should that woman contrive to use my identity against me, Ravi shall send a ship to pick me up, and I shall make its speedy retreat to Corvo. It will be fine. Fine, you say? I frown. Having Anna return to her home planet sounds like superior fate over being sliced apart in the name of silence. I suppose, but I cannot say I like that very much either. How can you say that when I know how much you dislike your home planet? You yourself said that you don't want to go back, and I meant it. I don't want to go back. I will be prepared to do that, though for your sake. I can't make you change your mind on this. No, you cannot. I am determined, but please try not to worry. This is for my best. If you sacrifice your future for my sake, you will only grow to resent me, and I would hate to see that happen. Our parting might be sudden, but this way we shall be left with nothing but happy memories. In that sense, this is a very favorable outcome. Smiling, Anna rises to her feet and glances at me. Let us be on our way to your university. There is much I wish to discuss with Professor Sakai, if indeed that is her real name. I have so much to tell her. It is surely surprise her. This is her lucky day. This might be Professor Sakai's lucky day, but I've never felt more unfortunate. I do not want Anna to turn herself in, and I definitely do not want to say goodbye to her. I'll miss her a good deal, but negotiations are no longer possible, not when Anna will is so indomitable. Talking her down would be impossible, even for somebody with a A-rank charisma. In the end, I have no choice but to accept her wishes. I don't want to disrespect her dedication nor call her love into question. She's doing this because she cares about me from the bottom of her heart. This is the type of girl you guys should marry, guys. The girl that will always care for something like this. That'll take sacrifices instead of you. That, at least, is something I can be thankful about, though my own heart feels like it's been being squeezed in the face. I inhale, try to calm myself, then look to Anna. Our eyes meet. Hesitantly, I reach to take her hand, then let her haul me to my feet. Then I smile. Alright then, I can't say I approve of your plan, but if that's what you want, I'll support you. I'm not going to trample on your efforts. I just wish that I could do more to help you. That theory is alright. I mean, we have to worry about her too. I really do wonder where she could have disappeared to. This is all so strange. I concur, I am worried about Yuri too. But it's for her sake too that I intend to tell Professor Sakai everything. If I confess that the astronomy clubs will be able to stay open, then all will be well. That's my fervent wish, and I intend to make it come true. I am going to do my very best. We gotta do this. Let's all hope things go well. Oh shit. Well, look who it is. That's how Professor Sakai greets Anna and I when I step into her office later that morning. Professor Sakai is dressed such as she usually is in her gray sweater and a dark tight skirt. She reclines upon her hair, one leg folded over the other, and surveys us coolly through the half-lidded eyes. For once, she doesn't look awkward. Instead, she seems entirely at her ease, completely in control. Her aura seems to be shifted in a way that makes me feel uncomfortable. What exactly does she have in store for me? It is good to see you again, Mr. Takagi, and you too, Miss Anna. It has been a while. I did rather suspect I would be seeing you again, Mr. Takagi, although Professor Sakai eyes roll over me, hard as stones. I'm surprised that you dying to stop by, Miss Anna. Did Mr. Takagi tell you of my ultimatum? He did indeed. He told me everything, I must say. I don't approve of the way you have been handling things. You're supposed to be an educator, not. You have no right to use your position to threaten our students. Your conduct is awfully poor. You ought to report to your superiors. You may certainly try that if you wish, but I think they will find my behavior to be above board. Mr. Takagi here has been letting a third party to the university to participate in the club activities without permission. He has been doing this for over a month now, which is ground for an expulsion. I have grounds to file a formal complaint. He has been very, very naughty indeed. He only did that for my sake, though. My darling is not a bad person. Now, did I say that he was? I too believe that Mr. Takagi is an upstanding young man. His kindness may be maybe his fatal flaw, in fact. It is precisely because of his kindness that he has found himself in so precarious a situation. Please believe me when I say that I do not want to get him expelled. Not on so trivial technicality. He is an intelligent man and his future is a bright one. I am not a cruel woman and I take no pleasure in the thought of ruining his life. Here, Professor Sakai has recrossed her legs. She presses her hand upon her lap, her pantyhose stretched taut over the ridges of her knees, and says, "But I will, if I must, for I have no other alternative. I would not be doing this if there was another way, but there is not. I need to know all you know, Mr. Takagi, about this astronomy club and its members. There should be no secrets between us. My job would not allow for it. I was sent here to gather information, and that is what I shall do. Now speak. If you do not want to find yourself ejected from this institution, what are you hiding from me?" "I'm not." I'm beginning to for what of anything else to say, but Anna interjects. She rests one hand on my shoulder, signaling me for to be silent, and shakes her head. "I apologize, darling. I know you mean to protect me even now, but I cannot let myself cower behind you. I vowed that I would tell Professor Sakai everything. That is what I meant to do. It would not do to go back on my world." "Oh?" Professor Sakai blinks. "Now this is an interesting development. What are you talking about, Miss Anna?" "I believe you know that already, Professor." Anna spits out Professor Sakai's title with no small amount of vitriol. It's unusual hearing Anna sound so embittered, and it takes me by surprise. The Anna I know never loses her temper. Professor Sakai really must grind her gears. Like Peter Griffin. "I'm aware. Oop, my bad. I'm aware of why you came here. It is plainly apparent. You are not the real professor, though you pretend to be. You were sent here instead to learn the truth behind my identity. My darling has tried to protect me, and so has Hiri, but it seems our time has run out. I will not let anybody else suffer for my selfishness. My parents taught me as a princess to remain true to my ideals, and that is what I meant to do. I am going to tell you everything. I am in fact an alien." Anna begins, but she is unable to finish. Her words are swallowed by a loud slam which could have come at a more perfect time. It echoes through Professor Sakai's office, so Professor Anna and I all jumped. We looked through the door when from hence this commotion came from. We met with unexpected sight. "Shit! Look who it is. Hold it, Anna. Don't say another word. That isn't why she's here. She isn't after you. This is all about me." Hiri, standing in the entrance of Professor Sakai's office, stooped over. One of her arms is outstretched and her fingers splay while her others clench at her front. Her face is flushed, presumably from the exertion of running, and her hair looks rumpled. The hem of Hiri's coat billows around her skirt, which allows further to add to the drama of the scene. It looks almost like a shot from a movie. Hiyori? I stare at her so startled. All thoughts about Anna's confession have been driven clean out of my head. This is the first time I've seen Hiyori in a week. Whole week. I called her dozens and dozens of times, but she never picks up, and she didn't seem to be there when I stopped by her house. I lost any hope of seeing her before speaking to Professor Sakai, but now I've been proven wrong. Hiyori didn't abandon me. She hasn't disappeared. She's here now, and it looks like she has something of great import to say. What could it be? I've a lot I want to ask Hiyori. Well, up to you being chief among them, but for present, all I can manage is confused. What are you talking about? Oh, Haru. Hiyori's eyes soften when she looks at me. Her chest rises and falls with the effort of inhaling, and her lips curve into a frown. Hiyori, I really have missed you this last week. I'm sorry I disappeared so suddenly. My parents had some pretty shocking news for me. You see, it took me a while to get to digest it. I'm still not entirely sure what to make of it all, but I knew I couldn't stay holed up in my house. Today's the day Professor Sakai wants you to spill your secrets, isn't it? That's right, Anna was about to tell her everything. I thought that might happen. Anna's way too honest for her own good. I was terrified I wouldn't make it here in time, but it looks like I was able to avert a crisis, though barely. What do you mean? There's no reason, you see, for Professor Sakai to ask about Anna. Anna's irrelevant. She isn't the one Professor Sakai wants. What are you talking about? I know this might sound unbelievable, but please listen to me. I promise I'll tell nothing but the truth. You see, the thing is, Yuri stares at the Professor Sakurai. Sakai. I like to say Sakurai so much. Her expressions of one desperation as she cries. I'm the person you were sent here to find. Haru and Anna both call me Hiyori, but that isn't my real name. That's just the name my Earth parents gave me after they adopted me. The name my real parents gave me is Vesper. Vesper? And I'm Myra's missing princess. Silence descends from following Hiyori's incredible, seemingly impossible announcement. I stare at her slack-jawed, as do Anna and Professor Sakai. This cannot be. I don't think any of this expected this. Excuse me, but Professor Sakai is the first to speak up. She crosses one slender leg over the other, and with narrow eyes says, "What exactly are you talking about?" It's a bit of a long story. I'm prepared to tell you everything, but could I sit down first? I don't want to launch into a soliloquy while I'm standing in the doorway. Oh yes, of course, do come in and sit down. Professor Sakai pats a vacant chair by her desk, besides the one upon which I'm sitting. Hiyori bows her head in thanks and enters Professor Sakai's office. She closes the door behind her with a thud and takes a seat, removing her coat and hanging it over the back of the chair. Hiyori then adjusts the pleats of her skirt, which are rumpled, and rearranges her hair. Now, looking neat and presentable, Hiyori inhales. She rests a hand upon her chest like actors do while accepting awards on glitzy TV shows. As she begins, everything is as I said. I am an alien princess. I was born on the planet Myra. My birth name was Vesper, but I was abducted from the palace as a child by a brigand and sold off to a couple on another planet. This planet. My earthly parents are wealthy, so they could afford to pay the extortionate price which was being offered for me. They took me in, knowing that I come from another planet, and they gave me a new name so I would fit in among my peers. This name was Hiyori. This is how I've regarded myself for over a decade, but isn't true. It isn't the real name. The real me. I've long since suspected I don't belong on this planet. My parents have always told me I'm the most important part of their lives, but they don't own any baby photos of me. They don't own any old baby clothes of mine or any toys. The earliest memories I have with my parents. Here he always makes quotation marks with her fingers. Begins when I'm 5 years old. I can't recall anything before that. I always thought that was strange. I asked my parents about it, but they told me it was normal. You were a baby back then, Hiri. They said, of course, you can't remember any of that. Not many people can. As for your old clothes and toys, meanwhile, we sold them off. There was no point in keeping them around. You're too old to use them now. I asked about photos too, and they said that their old photo album went missing. They said I was overthinking matters for for a while. For a while, I almost believed them, but they couldn't explain away the star-shaped birthmark on my chest. They said it didn't mean anything, but I couldn't believe that. It felt too significant. I'd never be able to shake the feelings that I don't belong on this planet. I've always felt like an outsider. And now, I suppose I know why. I really am an outsider. Hiri. I look at my Hiri baffled. I've known Hiri for almost a year. We're not childhood friends. Not by any metric, but Hiri has told me I'm one of her closest companions, if not the closest. I thought I knew Hiri as well as it was possible to know somebody else, but now I see this was nothing more than wishful thinking. There's far more than to her than meets the eye. Hiri did tell me on several occasions that she thought she was an alien, but I was waving these claims aside. Hiri looked so ordinary with her brown hair, her brown eyes. I thought it was impossible to these proclamations utterly outlandish. I didn't believe her. Now it looks like I've been proven wrong. Maybe I should have had more faith in her. She wasn't crazy after all. This really is a lot to swallow, but Hiyori sounds so assured I can't disbelieve her. I've never seen her more serious. I think she's telling the truth. There is one thing I'm curious about though. Did your parents tell you all this? Hiyori nods. They said when I was sold to them that the broker asked that they kept my lineage from me a secret. Apparently my whole planet is Myra and I've been going through some civil unrest. I was abducted from the planet because it was feared as its future queen was in danger. The brigands who abducted me were trying to protect me. Though of course the money was a nice bonus. Hiyori smiled somewhat bitterly. This broker did not want me ever realizing that I was an alien princess unless I returned to my planet one day. They asked my parents to keep the truth from me and to raise me as an ordinary earthling. Naturally, my parents were only too happy to accept these terms. They had wanted a child for a long time, but were unable to conceive through natural methods. They did not want to adopt. Not really. They wanted a child who belonged to them and them alone. There was no reason for them to tell me I was not their biological daughter. It was more convenient for them to leave me in the dark. That way they could continue to act as though I truly was their child. I came from another planet after all. Other adopted children might accidentally stumble upon the truth of their parentage, but it was unlikely I ever would. Hiyori grits her teeth together, her fingers curled tight about the pleats of her skirt. For years my parents hid the truth from me. They lied to me over and over again. Even when I asked them point blank who I was and where I really came from, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes indefinitely. I think they felt a bit guilty about it, but they told themselves that it was for the greater, not greater good. They believe, at least I think they did, that they were protecting me, but in the end there was nothing they cared about me more than their own self-interest. I don't think my parents would ever have been honest to me about my past, had circumstances not shifted so. Here Professor Sakai raises an eyebrow. Circumstances, you say? Yes, that's right. You should know all about that, of course, Professor Sakai. Not that is your own real name. You're not a real professor either. In fact, you're not even from this planet. You come from Myra, too, just like me, don't you? Silence settles about Professor Sakai's office, colder than deeper than that snowfall following a storm. Professor Sakai looks at Hiyori, her lips pursed and her arms crossed. So that means she's an alien too? Now we got 3 aliens in one room? The clock upon Professor Sakai's wall continues to tick away the time, the second hand advancing about its circular face to a little veil. Nothing happens. Nothing until after what seems small eternity. Professor Sakai nods. Yes, you are quite right. There we go. Yep. See, I knew it. See, there was something going on. That marks 3. I am from Myra, just as you summarized, and my name is not Sakai. That is nothing more than a pseudonym. I don't know what the hell that means. I adopted to better fit in amongst you Earthlings. My real name is Alo, and closed-minded people who dwell upon this planet would certainly regard me as an alien. Alo. But you look so human, though. Like, that's the thing. You look so human, but yet an alien. It's hard to tell. I am a member of my Galactic Police Force. I was sent here alongside several other agents of mine to locate the missing Princess Vesper, who was abducted all those years prior. My fellow agents and I have been looking for the princess for over a decade, to little avail. We have canvassed planet after planet, hoping to find some signs of the princess, but alas, Professor Sakai, no, although sighs. It was not until very recently that we were able to unearth any credible information related to the missing princess. We were able to track down one of the mercenaries who abducted the princess, and we hauled them in for questioning. Eventually, after many grueling hours, we were able to extract the name of the planet to whence they took the princess. And we learned too the name of the princess to whom she had been bequeathed. That is what my parents told me too. They said they were approached by strangely dressed people who claimed to be members of your so-called galactic police force, who had come to ask questions about me. They wanted me to come back to Myra with them, but that, of course, was not possible. I wasn't at my parents' home at the time. I've been living in Tokyo for the last year, attending university here. My parents tried to cover for me despite the incessant questioning, but they eventually let the name of this university slip. You then infiltrated this university under the guise of being a professor to hunt for the missing princess. You have been looking for me for weeks, but you were unable to recognize me. It's been over a decade since I was adopted after all, and I was a small child then. I spent a lot of time on Earth, and it has changed me. I don't look the same as I used to. I'm so different, not even the most devout royalists would have been able to recognize me. I slip under your radar undetected because of my appearance. I'm so ordinary, not even my fellow Myrans recognize me as their own. It is a bit depressing, really. But now I know who I really am. I can't continue to live a lie. I am not Agasaka Hiri. There never was Agasaka Hiri. I am Myra's princess, Vesper. Yea, luminous sight. My parents, knowing that you were looking for me and told me everything, they confessed, and I can see no reason why they would lie to me. This is who I am. Hiri grips the front of her sweater with her right hand, fingers curled against the soft fabric, and I'm the only one you've been looking for. I'm the one you want. If you need any further proof, then just look at this. Hiri grips the neckline of her sweater in one hand and pulls down to reveal her cleavage. Her chest is pushed together out into the position of her arms, but this isn't enough to obfuscate the key point of interest position above her right breast. I stare at it as does Alo. Goodness me. Alo exhales her voice soft with wonder. I must admit, I had some doubts when I heard your story, but now there can be no question of it. You really must be the missing princess. I would recognize that distinctive birthmark anywhere. Hiri might be pulling her sweater down, but she isn't imploring Alo to look at her blossom, which, if I might add, is very impressive. She is instead drawing attention to her distinctive star-shaped mole, which under normal circumstances would be hidden beneath her clothes. Hiri showed that birthmark to me once too, not so very long ago. It was because of that mark that Hiri was convinced from a young age that she was an extraterrestrial. I knew aliens exist by that point, having already met Anna, but I wasn't prepared to count Hiri among their ranks. I didn't think much of their birthmark. I remember telling her as such, too. I tried to be gentle about it, but my response boiled down to, I think you're taking this too seriously. Now I can see I wasn't taking Hiyori's claims seriously enough. If her story is to believe, then she really is an alien, and not just any alien. Like Anna, she's a princess. This series of reveals one after the other is enough to leave me reeling, and I'm not the only one. Alo too looks stunned at this revelation, but being older than I and more experienced, she's able to regain her composure. Miss Akasa, no. Alo shakes her head. Vesper, your highness. My princess. Whoa, what's happening here? What's happening here? Alo rises from her chair, then takes Hiyori's hand in he owes me. Alo chests around and full despite her cozy winter sweater pushes up against Hiyori's. Alo's eyes met meanwhile are wide in awe and compassion. She's staring at Hiyori's in almost slavish awe and admiration. I am so happy to have finally found you. This is such a shock. It has yet to fully sink in. I can feel the warmth of your body against mine, but it still does not feel real. This is truly incredible. I have canvassed the whole galaxy, moving between planet to planet, hoping for a sign of your whereabouts, but I was unable to find any information about your welfare. Though I tried to be optimistic, I had begun to fear the worst. I was terrified that after my many years spent searching, I would have returned to Myra in disgrace with naught to show for my efforts. I fear I would never be reunited with you. And yet, here you are. Yes, here I am, in the flesh. Maybe you knew me when I was small, but I don't really remember you. I don't remember anything about my brief 5 years spent on Myra before I was stolen away. My memory is full of holes, but well, if we did know one another once when we were young, I guess I'm glad to make your acquaintance again. We did know one another, yes, albeit briefly. I am several years your senior and had newly been appointed as an agent for the Galactic Police Force when you were born. I had the honor of looking after you during several occasions when you were still a babe in your cradle. Oh, I see. Does that make us childhood friends then? No, not really. We're not friends, being so very far in age. Though I confess, regard you as a little sister. You used to behave very affectionately towards me. Alo smiles fondly, her fingers still linked with Hiyori's. You were forever followed me around the palace as a young girl, asking all sorts of questions. We went for walks together in the palace gardens, and I even taught you how to read. Our days spent together were some of the happiest I have known. I enjoyed my time by your side to the fullest, my princess. Alo's expression darkens, but it did not last. Good things never do. You were stolen when you were little, more than 5 years of age, and beneath my very nose, too. Beneath your nose? Harry blinks. What do you mean by that? I was on guard duty the night you were whisked away. I ought to have been overseeing you to ensure you came to no harm, but I failed in my task. Your abduction was all my fault. I have to blame myself for this gross oversight for a long time. Long time. Try though I might be a professional, I've always been clumsy. I make the silliest of mistakes when it matters the most, which leads invariably to chaos. I am an utter fool, and it was even more foolish of me to fail to recognize you after meeting you upon this desolate, dismal planet. I had been more canny, surely. Would have known you for my dear princess when first our eyes met. I could have returned you to Myra, where you belonged weeks ago. I've wasted an inordinate amount of time. Those fingers tightens about Hiyori's. But that is in the past. I have ample opportunity to make up for that. We have been reunited, my princess, and that is all that matters. Now that I know who you are, your identity has been confirmed. I can return you to your home planet without further delay. Will you return to Myra with me? Your planet, your parents, and your people have missed you awfully, as I have. There is nothing I wanted more than to return to your rightful place. What? Then you're going to take Hiyori away from us? That is generally the idea, yes, though I must remind you that Her Highness is not really called Hiyori. She is Myra's princess, and Myra is where she belongs. She never should have stepped foot on this miserable ball of dirt in the first place. I'm not taking her from you. I am simply restoring her to her rightful position. And that's what you say, but it amounts to the same thing. Hiyori might be a princess, but she's still my friend. I don't want to say goodbye to her, and I bet she doesn't either. What do you think? You don't want to leave, do you? You like staying here, right? Well, Hiyori frowns. Those are some difficult questions. I appreciate that Alo came here to find me, really, but I need some time to think about all of this. What is there to think about? You're going to stay here. I'm not sure if I have much choice in the matter, really. Alo wants me to return to Myra, and she might just have a point. That planet is my real home? I never really felt like I belonged here, but Hiyori frowns. I've had a lot of fun the last few months. First I met you, Anna. We became friends. Then Haru and I became even closer thanks to your company. You're both precious to me. I know. If I left, I'd miss you a lot. Me too. I miss you already. Same here. I don't want you to go either. Hiyori giggles softly. You're both very sweet, and you're awfully precious to me, too. I think it's inevitable that I'll have to leave this planet, but before that happens, I want to say goodbye to both of you. I wouldn't feel right if I did. Won't you give me some time to speak to my friends alone? There's a lot I need to discuss with them, and I'd rather be alone. I need a little while to get my bearings. Alo ponders Yuri's proposal. Her arms folded, she taps her fingers against the inside of her forearm, in thought her lips resume before coming to an eventual conclusion. Very well, then. If that is what you want, Your Highness, I have no choice but to obey. I shall grant you your few hours with your friends and at the very least settle your affairs. I really cannot let you remain upon this planet for much longer than that, however. I am your humble servant, and I shall follow your orders to an extent, but I cannot let you dodge your responsibilities as Myra's princess. I would not be a good servant if I enabled you. I understand. I agree with you. I would not try to run away. I know that. I know. Now that Myra is where I belong. It is my real home. I have no intention of running. I am glad to hear that. Though you were not raised as a princess, you have a grace decorum befitting of one. You are most admirable. Now you may go, but please come to the university's roof at 2100 on the dot. This military time. Jeez. I really hate this. I shall meet you there, and together we shall return to Myra together. I'll make certain of that. This military time is something else. I really hate this. I gotta figure out what 2100 is. Anyways, with Alo's blessing secured, Hiyori and I leave Alo's office, then maneuver about the campus. The discovery about Hiyori's true origins was so shocking, I'm unable to speak about it. The topic rises to my tongue many times, but I always find myself swallowing back down. I think Hiyori and Anna feel the same as I do, because the three of us find it impossible to broach the subject. Rather than discuss Hiyori's past of her plans for the future, we instead find ourselves wandering aimlessly. There's so much for us to talk about. I don't know where to begin. The time trickles by as it does, and with every hour passes, the time Alo set for Hiyori's farewell comes closer still. Hiyori and I might appear to the untrained eye like a group of friends hanging out, but I know better. Our walk about the campus is in actual fact a protracted, unspoken goodbye. Eventually, after the sun has set, Hiyori suggests that we go to your charming club room. I think it might be nice to see it again. That's what Hiyori says with a small smile. Nothing more nor less, but unspoken words hang in the air like mist. I want to look at it once more before I leave. I humor Hiyori and the three of us making our way to the dilapidated old building where the less popular club rooms are. We walk through the familiar wooden hallways, then take the stairs to the third floor. The stairs creak beneath my weight, and the banister seems to shudder beneath my fingertips. Now, for the first time, I find myself wondering what would happen if these old warp floorboards were to give away beneath me. They're pretty old warboards. Even my house, too, feels like this. Would I break a bone after suffering such a tumble? What about Anna Huri? That'd be a pretty unfortunate situation all around, but if it did come to pass, perhaps Huri would be allowed to remain on Earth. Although seems like the reasonable woman, she could hardly expect Huri to make the long journey back to Myra with a bunch of broken bones. Oof. That is painful right there. That might give me some time to come to terms with Hiyori's absence. But the stairs remain firm beneath me despite their creaking. Hiyori and I reached the astronomy clubroom unmolested and let ourselves inside. The clubroom looks just the same as it always does. Floorboards are scuffed, the beach walls dingy, the old couch, the corner distinctively worse for wear. The posters taped on the walls cover up for the cracks and the marks, but the age of this place is immediately apparent. I mean, this place needs to be repaired, or else it's just in imminent danger of collapsing. This room is older than Hiyori's and I. It might even be older than the three of us put together. It's seen its fair share of activities over the years, but I doubt it's ever borne witness to a farewell half so tragic as I know this one will shape up to be. This place. Hiyori runs her fingers along the top of the blue couch, a strange smile on her face. It really does mean a lot to me. When I first came to this university, I felt adrift. I didn't have any friends at all, not until I joined this club. My seniors were all very nice to me. They made me feel like I belonged. The astronomy club wasn't a bustling hub of activities even back then, but there were a few more members than there are now. We are like family, at least until my seniors graduated. A couple of our other members were left behind, but they ended up quitting at the start of this year. They lost interest after the old club president left. I guess we weren't as close as I imagined. I felt abandoned. I even considered leaving this club myself, but I knew I couldn't do that. I was the only remaining member. Without me, it would fold. I decided to step up to the plate and became the astronomy club acting club leader. I scouted for the club members from the new undergraduates, but I couldn't find any takers despite my efforts. I was starting to lose faith. Here, Hiyori looks at me. Until I met you. Your joining this club really lifted the spirits. It might have seemed like a big deal to you, Haru, but I appreciate it. I really did. I felt like I could do anything with you by my side. It didn't matter that my club had only 2 members. That was still better than 1. It was better than being alone. I thought more than would join if we partook in a lot of fun activities and ensured that we enjoyed ourselves. And I was right. And it arrived, and now our club has 3 whole members. I know it doesn't sound like much, not when other clubs have dozens of members, but to me, it really does matter. I've had so much fun in this room, first with old seniors, and now with a pair of you. Without the astronomy club, I don't know what I have done. I can't believe that the time has finally come for me to say goodbye to it all. I can't believe it either. I speak up once Hiyori has finished her sentimental reminiscence. Hiyori was talking for such a while. I feel almost like I've forgotten how to speak myself. My voice feels weak from a lack of use, and it wavers. I've tried to remain strong, but it's hard to maintain my composure. I don't think it's quite hit me until now that this really is the end. Hiyori's going to leave. I had no idea you were an alien princess, Hiyori. That news really came out of the left field. Me neither. Hiyori laughed softly without humor. Of course, I had a hunch that I wasn't an ordinary human, but I never realized I was extraordinary as this. I never realized either. I had no idea you were a fellow alien, and I would have never guessed you were Vesper. Have you heard about Myra's missing princess? And I think everybody in our galaxy has. It was big news. I was the only child myself when it happened. I think I must have been 4 or 5 years old, but it was all my parents will talk of for a long time. I may discuss it a lot too. Revi was particularly curious about the princess' fate. She has always enjoyed gruesome stories that made up mine. She was convinced the princess had been sold out to a penal colony as a slave, or that she would be cut up into turned into space burgers. What? Space burgers? I don't think anybody could have ever guessed that the princess would be living on the small, out of the way planet on Earth. And appears had Hiyori curiously, her arms linked behind her back. How did you feel when you learned the truth, Hiyori? It must have been a huge shock. Very much so. I was so stunned when my parents told me the truth I couldn't leave my bed for weeks. It felt like everything I thought I'd known had fallen apart around me. I couldn't trust anything anymore. Not my parents, nor myself. When I look at myself in the mirror, it felt like there was a stranger staring back at me. Does that sound weird? No, I can't understand that. I felt a similar way when I first came to this planet, and I did so voluntarily. I was mentally prepared at all for it all, but it was still a huge culture shock. It must have always been even worse for you. I'm so sorry, Hiyori, that you had to endure so much. It's alright, it is your fault, Anna. I feel a bit better now that I have a chance to do all things, though I'm afraid I didn't handle it in the most mature way. Hiyori smiles at me, her eyes soft and gentle. I know you sent me a lot of messages during the last week, Haru. You even tried to visit me on a few occasions. You must have been so worried about me. I wanted to talk to you very much. I wanted to talk to Anna too, but I didn't feel like I could. I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry for shutting you out like that. As friends, we should tell one another everything. Hope you're not too disappointed in me. No, I'm not. I can't blame for you acting the way you did. I think you're bearing it pretty well. All things considered, if I learned I was actually an alien, I think I'd have a meltdown. Maybe I did have a meltdown for a little while, but I'm all better now. I'm a strong girl, and I can look after myself. I was able to pick up myself again eventually, and now I know what I want to do, which is, I think you should be guessed at, Haru. I might be an alien princess, but I'm still Hiyori. Nobody knows me better than you do. I think I know what it is, what you've decided, yeah. But I want to hear you say it with your own words. Alright, I'll be blunt. I love attending this university, and I love spending time in the astronomy club with you and Anna. But I can't say that I love this planet. Now that I know that Earth is my planet, I know I can't stay here. It will feel wrong, like I've been going against my true nature. My parents have lied to me my whole life about who I really am. They aren't even my real parents. I want to meet my proper mother and father. I want to know where I come from and where I belong. I can't pass up this opportunity. Not now, although has given it to me. I don't know how else I get to Myra without her. I need to do this. There's nothing else I can do. Hiyori. I knew this was what Hiyori wanted, but even so, it's hard to accept it. I don't want her to go. I'll miss her, and I'm sure she'll miss me and Anna too. Will leaving Earth behind her really make her happy? I'm not sure, but I hope for Hiyori's sake she finds the contentment from this decision. I can't bear the thought of seeing her suffer. It seems like I'm the only one either. Tears begin to prickle in Anna's eyes. She stares at Hiyori's one hand resting upon her chest and says between sniffles, Hiyori, oh Hiyori, I know that you want to go back, and I don't want you to talk you out of this, but I know this might be selfish, but I will miss you tremendously. But they're both sobbing openly now. Anna rests her head against Hiyori's bosom. I've not got the best vantage point. It's hard for me to see Anna's face, what with all her hair in the way, but I can tell from Anna's trembling shoulders that she must be crying. Oh no. If her shivers were enough to give away to Anna's mental state, then her sobs definitely are. I don't think I've ever seen Anna cry before, not in all the time I've known her. The Anna I've grown accustomed to is a bright, cheery girl who almost always seems to smile. She wasn't upset when she crash landed upon this planet, and she didn't weep at the prospect of never seeing her parents or her home ever again. She took all that in her stride with remarkable adroitness. Maybe that's because she had no desire to return in the first place. She was fine throwing her old life away so she could make it up upon the Earth. She wanted to build a new carefree existence in Tokyo alongside me and Hiyori. I didn't think you'd be leaving. We've not known another very long, but you're one of the best friends. I don't want to say goodbye to you. I suppose now that I think about it, it makes perfect sense Hiyori's planned departure would endure Anna so. Hiyori is Anna's only friend on Earth, other than myself. The three of us were the best friends and something more. Hiyori, Hiyori and Anna confessed their feelings to me, and I reciprocated. Our three-way relationship might be unusual. Some people may consider it immoral, but I'm happy with the way the things turned out. I think Anna and Hiyori are too. I like the splitting my attention between the two of them, and they didn't seem to have any qualms with sharing me with one another. I love both Anna and Hiyori, and I love being with them. I almost feel like something myself, but I refrain. Hiyori's arm span is only so broad, I don't think she'd be able to embrace the both of us. I want to try and remain strong, but though it feels like my own heart is breaking. It hurts, but saying goodbye always does. There, Anna. It'll be alright. Hiro reassures Anna gently as a preschool teacher might, all while running her fingers through Anna's long, silky hair. I'll miss you too, you know. I'll miss you a lot. This was a difficult decision for me to come to, but I think it's the right one. I don't belong on this planet. I never have. Maybe when I go to Myra, I'll finally feel like I belong and you never know. This needs to be the end. We can still keep in contact. I'm sure Myra has technology that will let me communicate with you, though you might be on Earth. Maybe it does, but that doesn't be the same as seeing you in person. Maybe we could arrange a visit at some point. If I really am Myra's president, there should be no reason why I can't. I should have a lot of power when I assume the throne. At least I hope I do. Here he giggles. Now that I will make for the quiet change of the pace. Don't you have powers as it is? Your parents, sorry your surrogate parents are incredibly rich. You're already in Japan's top 5%. I suppose that's true, but there's a difference between having wealthy parents and being royalty. I'm curious to see what being a princess is. I don't have much experience, but I'm willing to give it a go. Then I should be able to understand what you went through on Corvo, Anna. This might bring us closer together. Do you really think so? I believe so. Please don't cry. I want your heart to see me off with a smile. I love both of you, and I hate to think that my decision is making you miserable. Can you try to be happy? That might be somewhat difficult. And it sniffs. It is hard being happy, Hiyori, when you will be wrenched from my life so suddenly. My everyday spent with you was so much fun. My life will feel dull and gray without you to live it up. I've always loved this planet, but I grew to love it even more after meeting you. Earth won't be the same without you. I really do adore you, Hiyori. and it swells back, yet more tears, which threatens to course down her flushed cheeks, then takes a step back. She holds her breath at the front and, forcing a smile, says, "But it's precisely because I adore you that I will not stand in your way. But if you want to go to my earth, then I have no right to stop you. Many people act selfishly when they fall in love, but I think that is backwards love. Backwards. Love, or so I've learned after reading many romance novels, should be selfless and self-sacrificing. I want to be a good lover and a good friend, so I will let you leave. We can say goodbye here and now, though it really does hurt. I'm afraid it won't stop hurting for quite some time. Oh, Anna, but I can bear with it. Please don't worry about me. I hope you'll be very happy, Hiyori. There's nothing I want more. Not in all the world. After all, you're my very best friend." With our tears farewell concluded, and the sun, well, truly set, Hiyori and I head up to the roof to meet Alo. Before leaving the clubroom, Hiyori changes into a skin-tight bodysuit that isn't dissimilar from the one Anna was wearing when she first arrived on Earth. Alo gave the suit to Hiyori before we left her office, saying that she would need it for the journey back home. Myra might be Alo's home, but where it is, I still can't wrap my head around it being Hiyori's home. Hiyori has always, to me at least, appeared like an ordinary earthling. There's nothing much about her dun brown eyes, nor her choppy brown hair, which would suggest she's anything other than a human woman. Hiyori doesn't have Anna's distinctive green dress nor bright amber eyes. Hiyori's just Hiyori, kind of plain and homey, but pretty despite that. Seeing her dressed in that skin-tight bodysuit looks wrong somehow. I don't think it suits her, though it certainly completes the curves of her body. It's attractive enough. I suppose that this isn't enough to lessen my mounting sense of unease. I've never seen Hiyori wear such an outlandish outfit. She doesn't look like herself anymore. Not anymore. She really does feel like a stranger. Soon Hiyori will disappear into a vast dark sky above her head, and then she'll leave my life for good. She says it's what she wants it, but is it really? Will this drastically make Hiyori happy? I doubt very much it'll make me happy. I don't want to cry, but not now, but... Whoa! So you finally arrived. Took you long enough. Not gonna lie. This looks pretty good on her. Don't you know that it's rude to keep a woman waiting? Of course. Alo steps forward, clad similar to Hiyori, in a black purple suit, which leaves nothing to the imagination. Alright, everybody. This is the end of today's video, everyone. Almost like 1 hour long. So thank you everyone for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my social media links down below in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one.